It's the radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode of the Mike Prince Show here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Of course, our social media handles for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter are all at the Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is Open Mic Broadcast Network, and we have our 24-hour dial-in message line at 713-570-6736. And without any further delay, we're going to jump right into today's episode. Those who frequent the show know as much as we love sport, there is no sport that gets front and center other than baseball here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And I'm excited to introduce to some and present to others for the first time here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the head baseball coach of the Claflin Panthers. That is none other than Coach James Randall. How you doing, Coach, and welcome to the show.
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Mike.
All right, no problem at all. Exciting year in all kind of sorts. The adventure of a new conference that you were joining in with the Peach Belt. But before we get into all of that, let's get an introductory to our listening audience, Coach, on how you landed where you are in Panther Land, and give us a little update on your journey.
Well, I started out my coaching career at Grambling State, where I did my schooling also. I worked under the legendary coach, Wilbert Ellis, did 13 years under his tutelage, and he retired, and I became the interim head coach there for 3 seasons. And that was during the time that Grambling was going through a lot of change with presidents and athletic directors. And I got caught up in the wash, and we were let go. And a good friend of mine, coach down at Savannah State, Carlton Harder, gave me a call and said that they were looking for a baseball coach here at Claflin. Having said that, I had never heard of Claflin University at the time. So I reached out to the then athletic director, Dr. Timothy J. Autry, and we talked for a few weeks, and I think he had somebody else in mind, and that didn't come through. And he invited me over for an interview. I came over and fell in love with Claflin, to be honest with you. I was really impressed with the way things are run here at the university. And the baseball program was kind of iffy at the time. I inherited a program that only had 9 kids in it. Found a few kids off campus to play our first season, and it's been uphill ever since.
Wow. Now, uphill in a challenging way or uphill in a good way?
Well, there's always a challenge when you're at HBCU dealing with baseball, but in a great way for me. I had a chance to build my own program up, and like I say, we've gone from the numbers we had my first year to now. I have the red shirt and cut every year, so I'm excited about where and what the program have developed into.
Well, that is absolutely exciting because it's not many people that can say that they've actually had the pleasures of building a program from ground zero, and the body of work that you've been able to put in, it kind of resonates to the type of leader that you have become. But you being a little modest with us right now, Coach, you had a pretty good collegiate career at Grambling in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. You were able to play some professional baseball, and a lot of people do not allow themselves to actually compute what it takes to reach those types of goals. And sometimes, to be quite honest with you, when you reach those goals, it doesn't automatically transition over into coaching, but you've been able to have a balancing act and get success from both ends.
Well, to be honest with you, coaching is something I've always wanted to do. I ran into one of my elementary school teachers one day, and she mentioned to me that every paper that I used to turn into her, I would always say that I wanted to be a professional baseball and I wanted to coach baseball. And that dream has come true for me. I grew up in the Mobile, Alabama area and went to school at Viger and left Viger, went to school at Grambling for 3 years, played there 3 years, got drafted after my junior year. I signed and I went back during my tenure as a player and finished up my degree. And once I walked across the stage, basically, Coach Wilbert Ellis offered me an opportunity to work with.
And the rest is history.
I guess you could say that.
Now, when you start off with your alma mater and things don't work out quite the way you would want them to, it's hard not to take it personal, but sometimes the competitor in you would take it a little bit personal. How have you used that to motivate you throughout the rest of your career?
Well, that's been the number one motivating factor, to be let go by your alma mater. At the time that I was there as head coach, we were going through some NCAA sanctions, and I had to give up 5 scholarships over my 3-year tenure there. And they made a change, and the way I've approached Grambling is whatever is best for my university, that's what I want. If they didn't feel that I was the one to get it done there, then I really didn't have a big issue with them getting rid of me. I want what's best for Grambling, and at the time they felt that they did what was best, so I couldn't do nothing but jump in line with that. Fortunate enough, I was able to land another position where I've been able to build my own, and it's nothing has been more gratifying for me than that. Be able to start from little or nothing to build a program to where we are today.
We're talking right now with head baseball coach of the Claflin Panthers, Coach James Randall. And before we get into Panthers baseball, Coach, of course, the Southwestern Athletic Conference has just added 2 new institutions to the program, Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman. And everybody's real excited about the football aspect. But being a baseball guy myself, and of course you could really see the excitement, at least from my eyes, that this thing has just went up a notch on the baseball side of things as well.
Oh, no question. I think this has really, really upgraded the level of play in the SWAC as far as baseball goes. You're bringing 2 storied programs into our conference where baseball is really, really popular on both campuses, and they both have outstanding programs. They've really done a good job. And I think it has really put some teeth in the game over in the SWAC.
Absolutely, and in particular, a lot more teeth in that eastern side of the SWAC as well, because when you look at it, at least from a glance, you have FAMU, Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Jackson State, depending on who you ask, either Alcorn or Mississippi Valley. But up and down, that is a baseball beast from the eastern side of things. And then, of course, traditionally on the western side, Grambling, Southern University, Prairie View, Texas Southern, Pine Bluff. And it is really, really went up a notch. And I am so excited whenever all this stuff passes to see these guys get out there on the diamond.
Hey, the feeling is mutual. I really, really am excited about the 2 schools joining the SWAC. I think Alabama State and Jackson and Alcorn has kind of been the top on the eastern side. Now that you bring these 2 programs in, somebody's going to have to get it. I tell you, I'm excited about SWAC baseball and what this has done for it.
Yes, sir. Now, enough of the swag baseball, at least for right now. Let's talk about the baseball that's going to be A1 on your list, and that's baseball coming out of the Peach Belt Conference. The first year over into the Peach Belt, a challenging year with all the virus issues and things that are going on. Give us the journey of how you ended up deciding that the Peach Belt would be a good fit for you and your baseball program.
Well, I didn't have anything to do with us joining the Peach Belt. That was definitely a decision made by administration. But being in the Peach Belt, I think, is one heck of a move for Claflin University baseball. The Peach Belt Conference is one of the toughest Division II baseball conferences in the United States. And being a part of that is just motivating for me. I tell you, it has really lit the fire under me. There are a lot of good baseball programs in that conference. You look at not this year's draft, but the previous draft. I think the SWAC only had 1 kid drafted, and the MEAC may have had 3. The Peach Belt alone had 7 kids taken out of it in that draft. So my pitch to kids are: if you want to get seen and want to play against the best, it doesn't get any better and any more challenging than what the Peach Belt have to offer. And I'm just excited about the type of kids that have been reaching out, wanting to be a part of Claflin baseball. And I think that the number one reason is being a member of the Peach Belt. I tell you, we played last year, and just about every game we played, there were scouts there. We had like 10 to 12 scouts come to our scout day. And the kids and myself, we're all excited about that.
Well, one thing that is beautiful about baseball, I know that budgets they are varying from one institution to another, but in baseball, it's not necessarily how big an individual is, but if you have a good work ethic, some form of baseball IQ, and the heart of a lion, you can pull a few rabbits out of the hat more than you could again a football program, basketball program, because of the obvious size and the dominance that can take place in the physicality of a football or basketball game. When you look at that and you get a chance to play some of the big boys, if you would, how do you go about trying to find games that would match up to challenge your program and to possibly put a little change in your pocket?
Well, we hadn't had any guarantees, but I tell you, to be honest with you, playing in the SIAC and playing some of the schools out of CIAA, there is some competitive baseball that goes on. I tell you, each team has a lot of talent. The only difference is, I think, would be in the pitching. We face quality arms every weekend when you talk about conference play. And throughout my career, I have always played a challenging schedule. If you look at my overall record, it may not be great, but if you go back and look at the teams that we've played in the past, I feel like if you want to be the best, you have to play the best. And I've always, even my tenure at Grambling, played a challenging schedule so that my kids can be exposed and have an opportunity to play on the next level. A lot of times when we just beating up on each other, scouts don't come out to that. I've seen more scouts the last year than I've seen my entire tenure playing in the CIAA or the SIAC. Scouts just don't come see those games, but they do come see these teams in the Peach Belt, and it has really exposed some of our kids to be seen by Major League Baseball. You've had a couple of kids that the scouts have come in and do the hand-eye coordination test, and my guys are really motivated. We have to get better. We wasn't accustomed to seeing the type arms that we faced during the short season just passed us, but we started to catch up, and then the rain and the weather kind of threw everything off, and then the virus hit. But we knew that we have to get better to compete in the Peach Belt, and that's our goal.
Okay, now, Coach, with that Peach Belt, you're covering that eastern coastal line area in the Carolinas. What are some of your schools within the Peach Belt for myself and for those who might not be as familiar with that conference?
But just in the state of South Carolina, we have Francis Marion University. We have the USC at Aikens. We have Lander University. And then when you go over into Georgia, you have North Georgia. You have Flagler. You have Georgia College and State, Augusta State, Young Harris. A lot of schools that are really, really good that have strong baseball programs over there in that Peach Belt. I'm trying to look for a schedule so I know I'm omitting somebody. Uh, but it's a lot of good quality teams over in that Peach Belt. A lot of those schools do homecoming around baseball, so that tell you right there the investment that they put into that program.
Right, that's what I was about to say. The Peach Belt is a strong baseball-oriented conference, and it is to their fans as football is to say the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And when you look at it from that perspective, and this is no knock on any other program that's out there, when you have baseball as your big boy sport, if you allow me to identify it as that, there are additional resources that can be allotted towards your program that you wouldn't even get on some D1 programs. Is that not fair enough to state?
I agree, and I think some of these programs over here can actually be Division One type programs. Some of the facilities are immaculate, and you can tell that they get the support. Their numbers are overwhelming with the number of kids and the number of quality players that they have. So that's our biggest challenge, just meeting the depth over there. So I'm excited about being in the Peach Belt. I don't think it's, I just think it's just a great move for Claflin University. Now we just have to get the type kids that can compete on that level.
Okay, which leads me right now to your recruiting philosophy and the tactics. Now, I know that some institutions they like to stay within the footprint of the state. In your case, in South Carolina, what then is your philosophy and approach? Do you have the authority to go outside of the Carolinas to get ball players? Because sometimes it's easier said than done to try to sell the local kid on smaller universities, and you have an easier sale with some kids from across the state lines.
I agree wholeheartedly. We're free to go anywhere we'd like to go. Budget don't permit that we're able to do that. So a lot of times we have to use the old philosophy of, you have people that you know throughout the country, and you kind of have to trust their word. With this COVID this year, we hadn't had an opportunity to get out at all. So we kind of missed our spot as far as trying to sign some quality arms. We had some guys on our radar that we've lost to some of your PWIs, and that's expected. But I think if we keep after it and our name keep getting out there, we'll be able to attract some kids. Now, since I've moved over here, I've kind of stayed out of the Texas, Louisiana, and the Mississippi area simply because so many of our schools are over there, and all those cool kids are heavily recruited. And with the budget that we're working with, we don't get into bidding wars because we can't. And having said that, in the state of South Carolina, I don't want to put everybody on top of all of my kids, but there are a lot of our kids playing baseball in South Carolina, North Carolina, and the Virginia area. And with Virginia State having lost their scholarship dollars, we're looking to move into that area to try to get some of those kids out of there. But there are a lot of kids. I'm getting so many kids now from the South Carolina area that's seeing that our program is on the right track, and they're really showing a lot of interest. It's really been good for the local kids in the state to come in, so we're excited about that. When I first got here, I didn't know the state of South Carolina. During my tenure at Grambling, I never recruited east of Atlanta. And having been over on this side, it has really opened up my eyes, opened up doors to a lot of kids that I wasn't privileged to in the past. So I'm excited about where we are and what we're trying to do.
Well, a lot of people are unfamiliar, but the Carolinas is a hotbed for quality baseball from top to bottom. So you've
Don't
definitely
tell everybody that. Don't tell everybody that.
you definitely landed. Now, Coach Randall, you spoke about the budgets, and before some clarity, we know that D1 has a limit of 11.7 scholarships that they can offer out. What are your scholarship limits?
The max is 9.
Okay, so you have
The
9.
max is 9. No, I'm not saying I'm at 9. I
Okay,
say the max is at 9. I'm not halfway there.
okay,
So it's been a challenge. So what I've done here at Claflin is I've basically gone out and recruited kids that are high academic kids. The university has tons of money to have in the past, have tons of money that they give out through through academic achievements. So we've used that to bring in a lot of kids. A large majority of our kids are on some type of academic scholarship. That's the only way we can really build our program is through that.
okay. So it goes back to where you're not in a position to try and get into bidding wars, and you have to be a little bit creative when you're recruiting ball players.
Exactly.
Now, when that
Exactly.
creativity is being drummed up, mixing and matching, I guess first and foremost, the size of the student body on your campus would be at what number at this point?
We're a little over 2,000, right around 225, maybe 3 grand. The university in the past have turned down lots of students. Our main focus here at Claflin is the academic side. I think our academics speaks seconds to none, and we stayed within that. A lot of times we turn students down because the administration like to keep the teacher-student ratio at a level that's comfortable with what we're trying to do here on the academic side. We have a new president now and a new athletic director. So we don't know what to expect going forward, but I think the both of them just had having casual conversation with the both of them. I think they're both athletic guys, and I'm excited about where our program is about to go.
Well, when you talk about baseball players, and I'm going to be partial for this, you're going to agree with this because you're a baseball player yourself. They're probably the most intelligent athlete on the planet anyway, so they can accept and handle the high pressures from the academia side as well as performing out there on the field.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. You know, the old saying is that baseball is 95% mental. That is a true statement. And you know, when you have guys that are real smart kids, they kind of grasp information a little faster, and you can kind of move on and cover more. But yeah, baseball is a thinking man's game,
Yes, sir.
and Claflin has really been good with me on that side. Our graduation rates is real high, and our student retention is real high. And I've always been one that said your players most times are your best recruiters because good players know good players. And if they have good things to say about what you're doing, then numbers will always be there. You'll always be competitive and talented.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And when they focus on being the student first, and the athletic part will take care and fill whatever gaps are there. And that's always going to be a
Exactly.
win-win combination. Now, coach, let's talk a little philosophy. I'm an old catcher, and we
Okay.
know that the pride and the horses of any baseball program is going to be on your pitching staff. And when you
Correct.
already are challenged with limited scholarships, you have nine as a max, you say you're not even at that max point. What is your pitching philosophy as far as weathering the storm midweek and conference play when it comes to Panther baseball at Claflin?
Well, we spend a lot of time on the defensive side of it. We know we don't have the type of arms that's going to strike out a whole lot of guys. So our philosophy is that we get the outs that we're supposed to get. Don't give them additional outs. You know, make the plays that you're supposed to make. You always have a chance to win ball games, and that's our approach to it. We spend a lot of time on the defensive side. Of course, we hit. We take a lot of time with batting practice, but defensively, we want to make sure that we give ourselves a chance. So we focus a lot on the defensive side, and we let the offense kind of take care of itself. But if my dad always says, son, you can let in more runs than you can knock in. So we try to be strong defensively. That's what we spend a lot of our time making sure that we get the outs that we're supposed to get.
Yes, sir. Now, I understand that everybody would love to have a bullpen full of flamethrowers, 90 and above,
Right.
control and everything. But the reality is, you're going to have more guys between 75 and maybe 87, 88 on a good day. And it's not necessarily about how hard a person throws, it's understanding the art of pitching, what pitching is. And pitching really is about throwing the timing of the batter off. How hard is it for you to get that message across to some of the pitchers today?
It's not very hard. You know, when guys go out there and they're getting them shots hit off them, they'll listen. They'll listen. They will listen. They will humble them. This baseball is a humbling game. So, but for the most part, that's what we teach. You know, location and keeping the batter off balance and make them hit what you want them to hit, staying out of hitters' counts, try to get ahead of batters and that kind of thing. It all kind of works out. So that's what we teach. You know, we may have a few guys that get up there above 85, but very few. So we try to teach guys to be able to locate and be able to throw strikes with whatever pitch you're throwing in any count.
Yes, sir. Now, a lot of it, as far as when you talk about the defensive side of things, if you just go with the percentage, even if the guy hits the ball on the button, 8 times is going to probably be right at somebody. Potentially, 80% of the time is going to be at someone. And
Correct.
you got to make sure that A, you're alert, B, you have the leather, and C, you have the heart to knock it down And last I checked, no matter how fast an individual thinks they are, no one can outrun a baseball.
I agree wholeheartedly. You sound like me talking to my guys. That's something we preach all the time. There hadn't been a man made that could outrun that baseball. So if you fundamentally sound and do what you're supposed to do, you can always get out.
And when you talk about baseball, especially on the high school and collegiate level, games are blown open by an error or two in an inning, and the guys just unravel, lose all composure and everything, and all hell breaks out in a handbasket, if you allow me to say it in that manner, and the game gets out
Mm-hmm.
of control. Next thing you know, you're looking up and headed toward the loser circle. And if you're fundamentally sound, that's why 30% of the time you're considered a stud if you're hitting a baseball. But if your fielding percentage is below 95, you're considered a scrub. So,
I agree. I agree. That's just the fact. That's the way it is. I agree with that.
so defense, defense, defense. Now, when it comes, they had a few years ago where they deadened the bats, which I think was a great thing for amateur baseball. Not only the inflated home runs, but safety of kids. How has that changed your approach and philosophy toward hitting, Coach?
Well, I'm the type coach that I manage to my personnel. If I have a lot of guys that can run, then we do more small balls. If I have some guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and sometimes we kind of wait around for the homecoming. So I'm the type manager that I adjust to my team's personnel, and I can manage either way. I've seen enough baseball to where we can play small ball. We can work on stealing bases and that kind of thing, or we can be a team that stand back and wait for the long ball. So I'm not just set in one way of managing. I kind of let my personnel dictate the direction in which I plan to manage.
Well, that's probably the best approach to take because then you have what is called a system, and that system
Correct.
adjusts to the talent that's available to them. And most of the times, and I'm not going to say all the time, but I'm going to say, let's say 60% of the time, you have to take what's available to mold them to what you want them to be.
I agree 100%. In the past, we've brought kids in with the idea of saying that we're going to develop. But now that we're in the Peace Belt, we need to try to bring in kids that's already developed, that's ready to move to the next level. So we have kind of changed our approach to that. In the past, we would see kids that are talented but undeveloped. But now we're kind of looking for the kid that's a little more developed and ready to compete at a high level on the collegiate level.
Yes, sir. Now, Coach, here's something that has always intrigued me, and I don't know why more programs are not doing this, and maybe you can help bring some clarity, at least to me. We know that budgets are going to vary, but with this technology that we have right now, guys have multiple uses on these telephones, video, and this, that, and the other. Are you incorporating any type of video and modern technology to monitor how your pitchers are delivering, how batters are approaching their at bats at the plate, even how your catcher throws down to second base, where you can take some of these snapshots and go over them, use them as a teachable moment to help further your program along? Are you using that technology? And if so, if not, why not?
Well, we are well, no, what we can afford. We videotape our guys doing batting practice, some game shots, and same with pitch opposition players. Whenever we do in our individual sessions, we do videotape and bring kids in and sit down and kind of go over some things that we think could make them better ball players. Anybody that's not keeping up with technology is basically getting left behind in today's world. Everything is technical now, so we try to do as much as we can on that side also.
Okay, and with that, these guys got enough, I think, with gigabytes on their phones. Them pitchers, and I'm always hard on pitchers because they are always looking for an excuse to do nothing when it's not their day to pitch. You can make them, I'm telling the truth, Coach. You could make them your quote unquote mini video team to help advance the program. Now, are you one of those coaches that have your pitchers keep pitch charts and spray charts of the batters that coming up, or is that something that you handle or your staff? And we'll get to that in just a second. Or who makes up your staff at Claflin?
We do keep books and that kind of thing, more so on our pitching than the opposing team. We feel like if we do what we're supposed to do, we'll always be in a position to hit. I'm just not one that do a whole. Now I do watch other teams take batting practice to kind of give me an up, a heads up on to what guy can and can't do, and we kind of pitch to that. But as most of our charting is done on our guys, now that's something we probably incorporate a little more now that we've jumped conferences and every little bit helps. So that's something we will probably incorporate myself and my assistant, Mr. Jabari Brown.
Okay, you said Jabari Brown.
Yes,
Okay, now how long has Mr. Brown been with you?
I think he's going into his third year with me. Maybe he played for me here at Claflin. He's from the Chicago area, and he played for me here. And now I think will be his third year with me as an assistant.
Okay, okay, and I know that you have limited resources. Do you have the luxuries of some volunteer help from time to time, or to help you at least with some of the daily operations of the program?
No, right now I'm the only full-time coach on staff. Jabari is basically part-time, unfortunately. So it's a challenge, but I'm happy to have. I know during my tenure at Grambling, the 3 years that I was there as head coach, I had an assistant coach for one semester, and that was my last semester. I was basically running a Division I program by myself, so that was a challenge. So I'm just happy to have somebody that can, come out and help go batting practice or whatever needs to be done. Jabari has been great for me, and I'm excited about what he brings to our program.
Well, when it says for the love of the game, it takes it to a whole nother level, doesn't it, Coach?
I agree 100%.
Yes, sir. We're speaking with Coach James Randall of the Claflin Panthers, who are now a part of the Peach Belt division for baseball. We're part of the SIAC.
CIAA and all other sports.
Yeah, we're part of the CIAA in other sports, and of course the transition that has come over from this. So far, so good, making the adjustments. And with that being said, shut down the 2020 season. Do you see this thing possibly being back on track for 2021, Coach?
It's iffy. I'm really concerned because we've had a spike here right at time for kids to come back to school. I think we're scheduled to have staff meetings on next week to get a little more insight as to the direction that the university is going. But if things hold true, like I think they normally do here at Claflin, we're not going to put these kids in harm's way. So it's really iffy as for this year as to how things will proceed. I don't have any inside tracks or anything. I think I saw something on Facebook where the SIAC has canceled fall football. So we just don't know. Everything's up in the air, and I think here is July. We're the 1st of July, the start of the fiscal year. So I'm quite sure more information will be coming down the pipeline. But it's one thing I do know. If you don't have students and athletes on your campus, is there really a need for coaches? So that's our biggest concern right now as to how do we move forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, our thoughts and prayers are definitely going to be with not only just you and your staff, but all staffs involved, because this thing is an impact, I think, beyond what people can actually comprehend right now. And when they say it's not hitting you directly, you don't realize the actual impact that is amongst all of us each and every day. So we're definitely praying with you and the family on that one, Coach.
Well, thank you, and well said.
Okay, now, Coach, we are about to shut this segment down, and we have a custom here on the Mike Prince Show and the Open Mic Broadcast Network that we like to let our guests have some closing thoughts and comments, sir. And the floor is now yours.
Well, I would like to say to all the baseball fans out there, I would like to see us put up a fight to try and get baseball back in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades in our public schools, and not only get baseball back at those levels, but get baseball people to coach those teams so they can teach our kids the basic fundamentals of baseball. Baseball is a skill sport. And if you don't develop those skills at a young age, baseball is a sport that you can't catch up with it once you get to high school. This is a sport you have to start out at a young age and develop the skills of fielding and throwing and hitting a baseball. That's something you have to learn at a young age so you can master it. And it takes kids up until professional baseball before they can master this game. So I would like for our kids to have an opportunity to get back into baseball is for us to find some kind of way to get baseball back in the public schools in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades with qualified baseball people instructors.
Well, Coach, with that being said, you opened me up to invite you to come back so we can lay that plan out, right?
Well, sounds good. Anything I can do to help the sport of baseball in our communities, I'm down for it. So feel free to give me a call anytime. I'll be more than happy to do whatever I can to keep this sport going in our communities.
Well,
Baseball is our sport. I hear a lot of people saying baseball is not our sport. I disagree with that. And I ask them, okay, well, who's the all-time home run leader? Who's the all-time base stealer? Who's one of the best to ever pitch in the game? And I think they're all people of color. So this is our sport.
yes, sir.
I think we just gave it away. We ran to basketball and football. But I think now with this concussion thing out there, a lot of parents may get their kids back into the sport of baseball. That's my hope and that's my dream.
Well, I may have just found my baseball ambassador, Coach. That is all right.
I don't know about all that. I know when I started out coaching on the collegiate level, I was one of the youngest guys around. And I go out now and I look around and I'm one of the oldest guys. So I don't know how many more days I got in this game, but how many days I have, I'm willing to devote it all to making our game, making the game of baseball the best that it can be.
Well, you got a partner in crime on that assignment, sir, and the likes, Brother Mike Prince. He is Coach James Randall of Claflin Panthers baseball program, part of the Peach Belt. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us on today. Don't forget, our social media handles for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter are all at The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is Open Mic Broadcast Network. Our 24-hour dial-in message line, 713-570-6736. The clock on the wall tells me that I am out of time for today. But until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.